Do you love Instagram but struggle to grow on the platform? That's how I felt for years. When I first got on Instagram, I had all these funny ideas about how you should be using it. That it was for iPhone photos only and that you couldn't post graphics or DSLR images. That it was all about the visuals and not so much about captions, and often I wouldn't write any caption at all. And for a long time I didn't even bother with hashtags because I saw that as being really spammy and self-promotional. Initially I saw it as a personal place to be sharing photos. It took me a while to realise just how powerful it could be for business. At one point I started a new account for a skincare line that I was doing, and I had a complete business focus, and the account grew so much faster, and it made me realise the power of having this business mindset for Instagram. Now that might not be your struggle. You might already be in a really good business mindset for your Instagram account, but for some reason you're just struggling to make it grow. It just feels like you're always trying to put the right hashtags, try and get the perfect images that people will love, and just nothing is happening. It's just not growing. So in today's video, I want to talk to you about my strategy for 2020 to blow up my Instagram account and how you can use that too. So why do I even want to be growing my Instagram this year? Like anything in business, you shouldn't just be doing it just for the sake of it because it just is cool to have big numbers. There needs to be a reason why you pick a certain platform and really want to be focusing on it. Now, my Pinterest account does really well and it brings me the most traffic. And my Facebook page has always done pretty well, pretty naturally without too much effort. And back in the day when I was into Twitter, it was growing pretty easily too. I don't really use it so much anymore, but I noticed that when you put in the focus on something, it can do really well. That's why it's so important to not spread your focus, but just focus on the platforms that you really want to grow and go all in on those things. So why is it that Instagram is the thing that I want to focus on now? Well, for so long I didn't focus on it, and for so long I've struggled to grow it. It isn't something that I found can just naturally grow, and I think we've missed that phase. The algorithm has changed, and the days where it just very easily could grow has passed, and I didn't make the most of it in those days. I wasn't even using hashtags. So the reason that I want to focus on it this year is for a few things. First of all, my kind of people hang out on Instagram. It's a very creative platform, and I'm focusing on creative people. So it just feels like the kind of place that's attracting my kind of people. Secondly, as I said, it's that platform that I've always struggled to grow. And it's something that I want to grow, and so I want to put all focus on that. Because Pinterest, I've got a good system, it's growing well, nicely. Facebook, I found people have lost interest there, and it's just not a place that I enjoy as much. I just don't have that same feeling about it anymore. And the same with Twitter. It just doesn't feel like the place I want to hang out all the time. And so Instagram feels like that place that I want to be, and I feel comfortable there and I'm excited to be there, and so I want to create more of a community there as well. It's also a platform that you can get really creative on. I love the fact that you can share your creativity so much on there. You can share, images, photography, graphics, animations, videos, and then also when it comes to the caption, you can share your creativity in how you write as well as thoughts and sharing ideas. There's so much that you can do with Instagram, and it's very creative in that way, and I really like that. I've also noticed that you can create more deeper connections with people on Instagram. To me, it feels more friendly and relatable and easygoing. Facebook can feel a little bit more spammy, and to be honest, I don't really like the environment on Facebook so much anymore. It had its day, but now I just don't really enjoy it so much. Even personally, I avoid it a bit more. And then Twitter, I just don't really enjoy hanging out there so much anymore, but Instagram feels like this place where I really connect with people. So it's the place where I feel like I'm having more meaningful conversations and, seeing some really interesting things going on, and feel like I'm learning and interacting and making friends. And so it's a place that I feel like I can get more deeper connections. And being someone that teaches all about branding, I think Instagram is the perfect platform for building your brand identity. Because of course, your brand's about more than just your logo, colors, and fonts. There's so many aspects to your brand, and Instagram is such a great platform to showcase all those different elements of your brand's identity, to share your personality, evoke emotions, become memorable and recognizable, and experiment with different kinds of visual marketing. It's really such a great platform for building a brand. So before I start diving into my strategy and what I want to do, This is where my Instagram is at now. Well, I took this screenshot on the 28th of January. So basically before I started thinking about or learning about the strategies that I want to use. So this was my starting point before I started learning new ways of doing things. So this is going to be my plan of attack. And of course, you can copy it too and reap the benefits as well. Have you ever felt like there's this secret club on Instagram that there's all these people just seem to know how to write the right kind of posts, and they have this certain kind of captions, and they always seem to be ahead on, you know, what the latest kind of trends are with graphics, and they seem to come up with these great ideas, and they just seem to know what they're doing, and you feel like there's some kind of secret club where they all discuss what you need to be doing, and somehow you've missed out on that. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just feel like somehow I'm missing something that everyone else knows about. Or maybe you feel that way too. Maybe you feel like everyone else somehow is in on something that you're missing out on. You're like, how do they all know this stuff? I want to know how to do this stuff too. Well, guess what? I found the club. I found the place where you can learn all these strategies. I'm talking about all those things that I'd see and be just like, how do they know how to do that? And I'll share that with you soon. First of all, part of my strategy is committing to consistency. So something I'd find with Instagram is whenever I was just emotionally feeling stressed out or down or struggling, or I was feeling burnt out with work, Instagram was always the first thing to drop. I'd so easily lose momentum when life got busy and crazy. So something I want to commit to is being more consistent. So not letting my emotions and everything rule how I'm using Instagram, but just keep showing up, keep that momentum going. I've noticed it's important to make it a habit because then it makes posting really easy. When you leave a huge gap, then it suddenly feels kind of awkward just stepping back into it, and you feel like you can't just post something simple. It's got to be sort of significant enough to come back for. And so it just feels so much easier when you're just consistent. You can just keep showing up more easily. Next, I'm committing to learning more. So remember that secret club I talked to you about? All right, so there isn't actually a secret club, but I recently discovered a course by Boss Babe called Instagram Growth Accelerator. And once I dived into the content, I realized very quickly that this answered all my questions. This was all those things that I wondered about Instagram. How to write those amazing captions, how to know what to post, how to be posting regularly enough, and all those things that I'd think, how do they do that? How do they grow fast? How do they get the engagement? How do they know how to get their audience to start leaving comments? All those things that I struggled with and weren't sure how to do, it's all answered in this course. And the thing is, I've taken other Instagram courses in the past, and I always felt like it was very shallow, surface level, didn't really go deep enough, wasn't really covering all those things that I wasn't sure about. Whereas this, it feels like, yes, I found the club because it answers all those things. And it's not just about growing your Instagram either, it's also about how you can use Instagram to sell. Because if you've got a business, isn't that why you're using Instagram in the first place? Is to try and help you make more sales? And so it covers that too. And it's also about the branding side of it, which to me is just so important too, about building your brand, getting recognized, getting to know your audience really well so that you connect with them, and so that you're creating more of a community, and you're really connecting with that audience. And it's not just about the numbers and trying to get the biggest following ever, but really about building that business and building that brand and building a community that loves what you do. My next commitment is to be going through this course, to keep setting aside time, going through it, learning more and implementing what I learn as well, because it's no good just to learn all these things and be full of knowledge. You need to be implementing. So it's important that I'm committing to implementing what I learn and to keep growing from that. And if you want to check out their webinar to learn more about the course, there'll be a link in the description below so you can check that out. And even if you don't decide to buy, you can at least learn some things from their webinar and get some tips to get you on the right track. Next is a commitment to tracking. Now, it's very easy when you first get started with something new and you're putting a lot of effort in and you don't see a lot of results straight away. You can feel discouraged and feel like, I don't feel like this is really going where I want it to. I'm not really getting to that goal I had in mind. It's not happening the way I want. But the thing is, results often happen where it starts slowly and then takes off. It's not this linear thing. And so in the early days, it's really important to track the growth and even notice just the little changes, because when you see that, things are moving forward, there is some momentum, even if it's slow, things are changing, it gives you encouragement to keep going. And so I think it's important that I keep an eye on things, not just my follower numbers, but also are the views going up? Are more people saving my posts? Are more people sharing my posts? Are more people commenting? All those kind of things. Are more people viewing my profile even? Is what I'm doing making some sort of difference? Even if it's not growing that following really speedily fast, is there more eyeballs on my account? Are there more people interacting? Am I, creating a more depth with the community that's already there? Are my actions making a difference? Because even though it may not seem huge at first, the fact that it is making a difference means that that momentum will keep building if I keep at it. It'll also help me to see what kind of posts people are reacting best to, so I know that's the kind of thing my audience responds best to, and to do that sort of content more. So by tracking that, I'm not just, keep throwing up new ideas all the time and hopefully something sticks, but rather I can say, okay, my audience really responds well to these kind of posts, I need to make more of them. So other than what I'm going to be learning in the Instagram Growth Accelerator, there's also a few trends that I've noticed personally as I've started looking on Instagram more and started thinking more about how I want to be growing my own account. So a few trends that I've noticed. First of all, more infographic kind of posts. These posts are really highly shareable. Now you've probably seen lots of infographics on Pinterest. People love these, they love repinning them. They actually don't get as good a click-through on Pinterest because all the information's right there, but they're very shareable and they get lots of views. And so they actually work perfectly for Instagram because that's what we're after, because you can't click through an Instagram post, you're just going to interact with it there on Instagram. So an infographic works really, really well. But of course too, Instagram is just a square. It's not a big, long thing like Pinterest. And so it's more about keeping it very simple and just one idea. So rather than trying to expand on all these different data and information and ideas, you're just picking one concept and creating one little infographic for it. So this could be things like a pie graph, a pyramid, bar graph, list, timelines, before and afters, any kind of infographic like that. So think about some visual ways you can represent information that you're teaching or things about your industry. Next, quotes. Well, of course, quotes have always been popular in Instagram and they probably always will be. They're just this simple thing that's highly shareable. So of course, experiment with quotes. Try making them on brand, creating different styles. There's so many ways you can do it. And in the Instagram Growth Accelerator course, they also go into some psychology behind that and the kind of quotes that people actually just basically click like on autopilot because they're just so familiar that they don't even really think about it. They're just like, yep, like. Next, carousel posts. So these are a bit like a blog post that's visual. So you're allowed to have up to 10 posts in a carousel. So the first post is usually the title to draw people in. Then the next one could be like a subtitle or some other kind of short thing that sort of piques people's interest. And then you start getting into some content. So each slide giving a little bit of content. Obviously not too much because it's just a small square, but giving some people some information, sort of creating a bit of a story and teaching people a concept. And then that final carousel post will be a call to action or a thank you, basically asking things like maybe go to a certain link or leave a comment or like this post, basically some kind of call to action. These kind of carousel posts are doing really well because they keep people on Instagram longer because they've got to scroll through it, read all the things. And so of course, Instagram loves that because you're staying on the platform longer to look at this one post. And next, either Twitter screenshots or those things that look like notifications. So you know how on your phone you get notifications like reminder to blah, blah, blah. So people are making their own versions of these and also just basically doing screenshots of Twitter posts and then branding them in some way. And these things do well because they feel familiar because we're so used to seeing these sort of things that the familiarity just makes it popular because people are like, oh yeah, that's familiar. And you're not like, hang on, what's that about? I've never seen that before. And when something's familiar, it's a very easy like. People scrolling through say, yep, seen that sort of thing before and like. So those kind of posts do really well. So are you ready to grow your Instagram with me in 2020? I know social media can feel like so much work, but the impact it can have on your business can be so huge. And it can be so great for building your brand and becoming more recognizable and memorable and showing so many aspects of what your business is all about and really connecting with your audience on a more deeper level. knowing how to generate consistent content that's on brand and that people engage with really is the foundation to growing your audience and making sales. So as you know, I'm going to be working on this myself using the Instagram Growth Accelerator from Boss Babes. And this really is one of the most comprehensive social media growth programs online. And it really, the things you'll learn from this is so much more than just Instagram. Honestly, I haven't even got halfway through it, and I've realized that I'm learning stuff that I can apply to so many other aspects of my business too, not just Instagram. It'll teach you how to become a better writer and really get to know your audience well, and create content that's going to help you connect with them more. So it's really more about just getting a big following on Instagram. It's really about building that brand and really about connecting with your audience and making sales. I know that going through this is going to make a huge wave in my business, and it can for you too. So again, if you want to check it out, you'll find the link in my description below. And if you end up buying after clicking on my link, just email me a screenshot of your receipt, and I will also send you my masterclass, How to Create Better Graphics, which will help you become a better designer to create your own graphics for Instagram too. Because I know it's one thing to learn what you should be doing, but getting really good at designing graphics that make you look really professional, elevate your brand is really important too. So I'm also going to offer you that to help you create the absolute best graphics you can for Instagram. So don't forget that if you do end up buying, then just email me and let me know, and I'll get that off to you as well. So here's to our best year ever on Instagram. And don't forget that if you want to learn more about branding, graphic design and creativity, then be sure to subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next time.